Hello, welcome back to Mind Your Hormones. I am so excited to chat with you today because this is part of a conversation that I had with one of my Trying to Conceive Accelerator clients on our one-on-one call. And I want to bring it here because when we were chatting about it, this was like such a immediate, I don't want to say red flag, but immediately I was like, oh, like this is such a huge piece of the puzzle of you struggling with fertility. And it wasn't even something that she really thought. She was like, oh my God, like I didn't even realize like how much this actually was impacting me in that way. And sometimes it takes like just someone reflecting it back to you or just like actually talking about it out loud and having someone be like, wait a second, like what? Which is obviously so helpful when you have something like that in your corner. So I want to bring this to you because there might be something right now in your trying to conceive journey that you weren't even thinking was an issue. And maybe this conversation will bring light to it. So it could just like make more sense and also be something that you know to actually work on so that you can heal it. So what we're talking about, again, I'm not going to give like details of the client and all that stuff, like clearly very personal and, confidential, but this specific client. So when you're in the Trying to Conceive Accelerator, we work together for 6 months. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's like a intimate group program where you're trying to conceive for at least 4 months, 4 months or more. Most of them have been trying for a few years. And we get a one-on-one call. We have group calls every month. We have like a group chat that I support them every single day. You obviously get the Mind Your Hormones method. You don't work with me. Like literally you can't work with me unless you also have the Mind Your Hormones method because that's like the foundation of it all. So on our initial one-on-one call, I go through like a food journal, like literally a full week of every single thing that they're eating, that they're drinking, how they're working out, like no calorie macro counting. That's not the vibe over here, but that's literally the timing of your meals. What's in your meals? How are you working out? What time are you waking up? Like everything. So we get a really clear picture of everything that's going on and see like what gaps they're experiencing from like a tactical, like nutrition and lifestyle standpoint. Of course, supplementation as well, BUT chart, like the whole thing, right? So we're going through all like the nitty gritty stuff of that. And then they also fill out a full health history form. So it's like asks so many detailed questions about like, period symptoms, stuff like that. But then also things like what are the most like, less for stressful events that maybe happened in your life. And a lot of like emotional and like mental, like, it sounds so weird to say mental questions, but a lot of questions like about your mental and emotional state. And if there's been any like traumatic things in your life, all of that. So as I'm going through her health history form, I see that there's been like some situations with her parents that are like, that was a source of stress. So I bring this up, we're talking about it. And she tells me like, part of what she told me was that her mother doesn't approve of her marriage. And so she's like, I'm just so, she said a bunch of things, obviously, but one thing that she said that stuck out was, I'm like just even afraid to tell her like one day when I am pregnant. Like I'm just afraid to even tell her when I am pregnant because I know she's not going to approve of it. And like, all of this. So immediately I was like, oh shit, like this, first of all, it's like so horrible, right? Like to have to know, like, your parents don't approve of the person you love and of having a family with them and all of that on top of her, like struggling to conceive. She hasn't been able to, like, she doesn't even have, her parents help support her. Like there's so many things in it that sucks and that's fucked up. And you maybe have a similar situation, like whether it's this or something else, but as she's telling me this, I'm like, wow, okay, this is like a big energetic block, right? Like, of course, it's so important to focus on the nutrition, the lifestyle, the supplementation. Like I said, we go over all of that also, but you cannot ignore the energetic and the mental and emotional side of everything because that is literally just as important as the tangible nutrition, lifestyle, supplementation. Because like we're not just physical beings. Like we're not just like this physical like thing like, on this planet. Like we are made up of energy. Like that is science, that is fact. We're made up of energy, right? So there are like events in our life that can happen, whether it's traumatic event. Well, first of all, trauma is trauma. Like trauma just depends on how you perceive the situation, how it affected your life. It doesn't matter if it's, big T, little t, like doesn't matter. This is pretty big trauma though, like what we're talking about with her. And like that thought in your head of, my mom doesn't approve of me. Of course, it's maybe not something she thinks of all day, every day anymore, but it pops up. And that thought of, oh my God, like one day when I get pregnant, like I'm afraid to tell her. That is a block. That's like your brain is like, okay, there's a lot of fear around actually getting pregnant because of what's going to then come after it from a family perspective, right? And it's like, this is a thing you want most in the world. You want most in the world to actually get pregnant. And you're also afraid when it happens because then you're going to have to tell your parents and they're not going to approve of it and you're going to have to deal with that. Right. So it's like this push and pull, this back and forth of like, oh, I want this thing, but I don't, in a way, because I don't want to have this conversation. Right. So, or I don't want to have to like not even just have this conversation, maybe just have to deal with like my parents not being involved or in part of my life or whatever. Right. That's like such a huge thing. So what I want to ask you is maybe like you're listening and you're like, damn, this is my exact situation. Cause I know she's not the only person on the planet that's dealing with this, but maybe for you, why I want to bring this up to you is where are you maybe blocking yourself energetically and you don't even realize it? Like, not only do you not even realize that it is something that would negatively impact your fertility, but it's something that you're not even conscious of it being a problem until maybe you hear this story and you're like, oh shit. Right. So, like, maybe for you, it's something about like, I don't know, maybe you just have a fear of this just came through because my mom had this fear at some point when she was pregnant, but like she had a fear of like dying during childbirth or like, like maybe there's just these different things. And does this mean that you can't have a fear, like you can't get pregnant if you have a fear? No, obviously not, right? Like that's not what I'm saying. Right? It's not like all or nothing. It's not like, oh, this one thing is the entire reason why she's not getting pregnant. No, of course not. There are so many things nutritionally that was an issue. Like, right, there's so many other things. But this is a big part of it. And it's a big part of not only is this going to help, like when you, and I'll talk about like different ways and things that I told her that she could do to like help move through this, but like not only is this going to help support your fertility by opening up that like energetic channel, right? Because especially as women, we hold a lot of emotions in our sacral chakra, right? In our solar plexus, in our sacral chakra, which is like like governs our reproductive organs. And like we hold a lot in our guts. And that of course is going to affect us physically, right? So like the gut issues that you have, like I'm just, again, giving an example. Say you have some gut issues, right? The gut issues that you have, yes, could have been brought on and impacted by certain foods that you're eating, the way that you're eating the foods, a bacteria you came in contact with, food poisoning that started it, like whatever, reproductive disorder, blah, blah, blah. But it also could have been started by an emotional thing, right? That you are storing and you are like pushing down and holding in your gut that can cause gut permeability where your gut lining is now compromised, so it's causing leaky gut and then that's causing inflammation in your body and it's just a domino effect. So yeah, it could have been started by something physical like nutrition, right? But it also could have been started by something emotional and now everything is just compounding and snowballing. So it's really worth it for you to look at things not just from, okay, what can I eat to help support my fertility? What supplements can I take to help support my fertility? What blood tests should I get to help support my fertility? What workout is best? Like all these things. First of all, it's never just one food. It's not a type of workout. It's not getting a blood test. Like that is not what we're talking about here. Actually, another client of mine, the 4 weeks boost of fertility, she was asking me today, she's like, okay, my period is like a little lighter. Like I only bleed like one day and then like spot a little bit the next. Like what food can I eat to help this? And I'm like, let's back this train up, okay? Because you can't just eat a food to be like, oh, eat like blueberries and it's gonna help you lengthen your period. Like that's not how this shit works, right? That's our brain like wants to like hold on to like, okay, let me just like pick everything apart. And that this is the one issue. What's the one thing I could do to help support this issue? Like everything is connected. And we have to get a lot deeper than just like, okay, let's do this one food, let's do this one supplement, right? It's like we have to support those systems in our body that affect all of our hormones, your fertility, like directly connected to your fertility, all of it. Obviously, everything I teach you in the Mind Your Hormones method, your blood sugar, your nervous system, which is what we're really talking about today. Well, today we're talking about the nervous system, but it's also a little bit deeper than that of like the energetic side of everything. But that's part of it. Obviously, your detoxification pathways, like your gut and your liver and your nutrient density. So that is a little bit of a tangent. But anyway, what I was saying was, for you, right? It's both. It's nutritionist lifestyle. It's all of it. So maybe there's an energetic piece to your specific situation that you've been missing that you need to start looking at. And like, if that comes up of like, is there something in your life right now that could be blocking you energetically from this pregnancy, right? And this is not coming from a blaming yourself. Oh my God, this is why I'm not pregnant. It's all my fault. I'm the worst. Like, no, 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 no. This is not a guilt game. This is not trying to make you like the problem. This is just like, oh, interesting. right? Like, let's come at it from a curiosity lens and from an opportunity. Oh, this is an opportunity for me to heal even deeper. This opportunity for me to, and oh, that's what I was saying before. Not only is this, like working through this energetic block, specifically the one we are talking about for her with like the fear of telling her parents, like not only is this going to help, release that energetic block that could be contributing to the fertility problems and to like gut issues and anything like that, but it's also going to help you feel better in your day-to-day life. Like, when you process through that and you work through that emotion, it's like that's not something that's like a weight on your fucking chest and your shoulders every single day. So whether it directly helps you get pregnant or not, it's going to help you feel better throughout your day-to-day life. And like that's the real goal, right? Like the only reason why we want to do things is because we think we're going to feel better in the having of it. So like that is going to help you. It's probably also going to improve your relationship with your parents or whatever it is. Like when you heal that within yourself and you work through that, maybe you have conversations you don't want to have, or maybe you don't, and maybe you just heal it on your own, like whatever it is, but it's going to help you feel better in the process of it. So think about in your life, is there some energetic or emotional piece or a traumatic experience? It could even be that you've had recurring miscarriages and you're of course scared of that happening again. That is a very real fear and it's very valid, right? Like that's very valid. I hear that a lot. It could be that, like your sister or someone had a bad experience, or maybe the situation, like you're like, I'm afraid to get pregnant because I'm going to have to tell my in-laws or our parents and they're not going to approve of it or whatever, right? Like just think about it in your life of what other things, instead of just only focusing on the nutrition, the lifestyle, the supplementation, which yes, is obviously important. And if you want the step-by-step roadmap to that, that's obviously the Mind Your Hormones method. I got your back. I got you covered. But you also want to be looking at this because this is going to help your nervous system throughout the process. This is going to help you heal things that are going to help you not only get pregnant and through pregnancy, but are going to help you as a mother. It's like so important to do this work too. Like we're always doing this work, but like before you get pregnant also, so we don't like pass that on. And so we can really heal on a deeper level without just being like, oh, let me just like take the Mucinex theory. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that shit doesn't work, number one, but also like, let's heal really deeply, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. And things that I talked to her about for like, if you are noticing you have some trauma and if you're like, oh, it's not really traumatic, like there's no like, oh, yours isn't traumatic enough to be labeled as trauma. Like it's your personal experience. Okay. So like, we don't need to have like, like it's not like a trauma contest. Okay. Obviously, yes, there are different like severities of experiences, but it doesn't mean that someone can't have a painful experience just because it wasn't as painful as somebody else's. You know what I mean? But anyway, um, so like number one, therapy, obviously. Like I am not a psychologist. I am not like licensed therapist, like none of that. So I told I believe she is already going to therapy. I'm pretty sure she is. But anyway, I was like 100% therapy, like for sure. But there's other things too, like EMDR, like which actually, by the time you're listening to this, I don't know if that episode is out or not yet. I'm pretty sure it is. If it is, I did an interview and we talked about EMDR, which is actually something I'm going to be doing as well, which I'm super excited about it. But anyway, that's like a way to heal trauma, which is really awesome. And it goes deeper than just talk therapy, which sometimes isn't the best for some people. So that's really awesome. You could look into that as well. And then breath work. Obviously, EMDR, you'd have to work with like a licensed therapist. So it kind of goes with therapy, but not all therapists are licensed in it. But it's something to look into for sure. If you have definitely some type of trauma in your past, whether it's sexual abuse, like that's a whole nother thing too with getting pregnant, anything like that. But also breath work. Like that is something you could actually do on your own as well, in addition to getting like outside support. But breath work literally moves the energy in your body and helps you release that energy, which is the goal of what you actually want in this case. So I have so many different episodes. Jordan Nolan, she's like my go-to breath work therapist. I love her so much. I bring her in like quarterly into the Trying to Conceive Accelerator. She recently just came in. She works and she's just so incredible. Like I just love her so much. She is trauma informed and trained with breath work. She does virtual sessions. She has like a membership. It's really, really good. Anyway, you could check her out. We'll put her information in the show notes. But you could also like download Breathworks on, probably like Insight Timer or something. But if you are dealing with some type of like trauma like this and you really want to move through it, I would definitely work with someone to at least do like a few like deeper sessions of breath work. Another one of my clients was working one-on-one with Jordan. And I mean, it's like night and day how like the change that I've seen in her, how she's so much more able to experience her emotions and how much more relaxed she is in the try to conceive process. Like it is wild. She's been trying to conceive for 7 years. Like it's so wild how this has helped her. But anyway, I'll put her information in the show notes. I also have other episodes with her on here, so I'll put that in the show notes too. But you could also look locally, like if you want to do breathwork in person, a lot of like yoga studios will have like breathwork sessions that could be really, really amazing. So those are some things I would love for you to look into. And this is just like, I hope this episode really helps you think in a different way and lets you like zoom out a little bit and not be so narrow-minded and fixated on like this food, this supplement, and ignoring the energetic side of things, ignoring the emotional side of things, ignoring like these very real experiences that can be impacting not only your fertility, but how you feel on a day-to-day basis, and dysregulating your nervous system, which is then of course going to impact your fertility. So it's not like it's just something that like energetically impacts your fertility. It manifests in our body physically because your body keeps the score. Your body does not lie. Our mind could trick us in and out of things all day long, but the way your body feels around certain people, the way your body feels in certain situations, your body holds the score, and it could be holding the score. There's a book called Your Body Keeps the Score. If you haven't read it, definitely recommend reading it. It's like really, really amazing for that. But anyway, like your body could be keeping the score, quote unquote, in your reproductive system, right? Like there's just so much that goes into it. I could jam out about this all day, but I hope this just like got you thinking. Maybe pause this episode after, especially if you're like on a walk right now, or just like doing something that's like kind of mindless, like the dishes or folding laundry or whatever. Like pause this. Don't like binge the next one just yet. Just like hit pause, even for like a couple of minutes, and just like see what comes up. And don't judge it. Don't try and think like, oh, no, this can't be it. Just like see what pops up and just like explore it and allow yourself to like move through it without being scared to think about it, right? Because a lot of times we could be scared to think about certain things because we don't want to face it, because it's more painful to face it, so we just like block it off. But it's going to come out one way or the other, and we'd rather it like be processed through us instead of coming out in physical ailments in our body. You know what I mean? So anyway, I love you so much. I hope this conversation was enlightening for you and helpful for you. I love chatting about things like this. So message me if this hit home with you, or if you had any aha moments. I absolutely love hearing from you in the DMs. Thank you for sharing this with your friends. Thank you for sharing this on social media. Thank you for writing reviews. We are still doing a giveaway. I keep forgetting to talk about this, but we're going to do like monthly giveaways for anybody who writes a review on the show in February. You are going to be entered to win an Amazon gift card, because it really helps the show get into the ears of other people when there are reviews on the show. So like, please write a review. It's like literally could be like one sentence. It does not have to be long whatsoever, but I so appreciate it. And I'm just so grateful you're part of this community, and I will talk to you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for being here. If you loved this episode and learned something valuable, please share it with a friend who you think would also love it, or post it on social media and tag me so I could personally say thank you for helping me spread this important message. I am beyond grateful to be here with you. So until next time, stay intentional, stay consistent, and always mind your hormones.